High in the silent, unforgiving embrace of the Ötztal Alps, where ancient ice grips the land in a perpetual freeze, a remarkable discovery lay hidden for millennia. In 1991, two hikers, venturing off the beaten path, stumbled upon something impossible: the perfectly preserved body of a man, emerging from the thawing glacier. Who was this ancient traveler? How did he come to rest in such a desolate place? Initial wonder soon gave way to profound scientific curiosity, as this Iceman, later named Ötzi, was carbon dated to be over 5,300 years old, a time capsule from the Copper Age. But Ötzi's story, meticulously guarded by ice and rock, held a far darker truth than mere natural demise. This was no victim of exposure or accident. Forensic scrutiny, pushing the boundaries of archaeological investigation, began to reveal a chilling secret. Ötzi had been murdered. A single lethal arrow shot from behind, defensive wounds, and a final brutal blow. His death was violent, personal, and deliberately concealed. This documentary embarks on an unparalleled journey, transforming Ötzi from an archaeological marvel into the subject of the world's oldest cold case. Using cutting-edge forensic science, from pioneering DNA analysis and micro-CT scans to pollen studies and advanced ballistics, we will painstakingly retrace his final days. Over 35 chapters, we will piece together the puzzle of his life, his culture, and ultimately, the identity of his killer, revealing how modern detective work can solve a crime committed at the dawn of human civilization. In the remote, majestic solitude of the Ötztal Alps, where towering peaks kiss the sky and ancient glaciers carve their timeless path, September 1991 brought forth a discovery that would rewrite history. German hikers Helmut and Erika Simon, venturing off the beaten path near the Similon Pass, stumbled upon something extraordinary emerging from a rapidly melting ice patch. What they first mistook for a discarded doll, or perhaps a modern mountaineer tragically lost, was in fact a perfectly preserved human corpse, half frozen, half revealed by the sun's relentless thaw. This was no ordinary find. This was a specter from a forgotten past, a silent sentinel guarded by ice for millennia, now dramatically thrust back into the light of day. The sheer impossibility of it sent a shiver down the spine of the scientific community and the world. The initial days following the discovery were a chaotic blur of well-intentioned, yet ultimately damaging, rescue attempts. Believing they had found a recent fatality, authorities and amateur mountaineers scrambled to extract the body from its icy grip. Pickaxes and crude tools were used, causing irreversible damage as they struggled against the ancient ice. It was a race against the elements, but also a race against a profound misunderstanding. Only when the full extent of the body's unusual preservation became apparent, along with fragments of ancient artifacts scattered around it, did the true antiquity of the Iceman begin to dawn. Dr. Konrad Spindler, an Innsbruck archaeologist, made the pivotal realization. This wasn't a modern accident, but an archaeological miracle, a relic from a forgotten age, pulled from its frigid slumber. Ötzi's unparalleled preservation wasn't merely a stroke of luck. It was a rare and exquisite confluence of natural events. Approximately 5,300 years ago, following his death, his body came to rest in a shallow gully or rock hollow, quickly covered by snow and then enveloped by glacial ice. This frozen embrace created an almost perfect anaerobic environment, devoid of oxygen and bacteria, effectively halting the decomposition process that normally claims organic matter. His skin, internal organs, hair, even the contents of his stomach, were magnificently preserved, as if he had simply fallen asleep. His clothing, tools, and weapons, all made from organic materials, also endured, encased within this frigid, natural time capsule, offering an astonishingly complete picture of a man from the Copper Age. The discovery of Ötzi wasn't just a perfectly preserved body. It was an entire, meticulously maintained snapshot of European life during the Copper Age, a period spanning roughly 3,300 to 2,200 BCE. This was a pivotal era, marking the transition from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age, where early metallurgy began to transform human society. Before Ötzi, our understanding of this distant epoch was largely confined to fragmented artifacts and skeletal remains. Now, we had a complete individual. His physical form, his intricate clothing, his sophisticated tools, and even the remnants of his last meal. He offered an unprecedented, holistic look into the health, diet, technology, and daily struggles of a man from over 5 millennia ago, transforming archaeological speculation into tangible reality. Thanks to painstaking scientific analysis, the Iceman quickly acquired an identity, becoming known globally as Ötzi, a nod to the valley of his discovery. Initial radiocarbon dating swiftly placed his death firmly between 3350 and 3100 BCE, confirming him as the oldest known natural human mummy in Europe. He was a man in his mid-40s, a robust figure standing approximately 5 feet 2 inches tall, weighing around 110 pounds. His remains revealed a strong, weathered individual, accustomed to a life of physical exertion in a demanding alpine environment. This wasn't merely a prehistoric skeleton. This was a person with a past, a life, and a story waiting to be told. A story that would begin to unravel layer by layer, starting with his physical characteristics and moving towards the very circumstances of his demise. Ötzi was not found empty-handed. Alongside him, meticulously arranged, lay an astonishing array of equipment, a veritable hunter's toolkit, reflecting the cutting-edge technology of his era. Most remarkable was his sophisticated copper axe, its finely ground blade a testament to the emerging metallurgy of the Copper Age, far more efficient than stone. He carried a long yew-wood bow, nearly as tall as himself, and a quiver brimming with 14 arrows, each fletched and tipped with flint. Birch bark containers, a flint dagger, a retoucher, and even a backpack frame fashioned from hazelwood completed his ensemble. Every item, painstakingly crafted, spoke volumes about his survival skills, his resourcefulness, and the surprisingly advanced material culture of his ancient world. Beyond his tools, Ötzi's clothing offered invaluable insights into ancient survival and adaptation. His attire, meticulously fashioned from various animal skins, was perfectly suited for the harsh alpine environment. A bearskin cap, goat-hide leggings, and a deer-hide coat provided insulation against the cold. His unique shoes, made from bearskin for the soles and deer-hide for the uppers, stuffed with grass for warmth, were a marvel of ancient engineering, designed for treacherous mountain terrain. Even a woven grass cloak offered additional protection against rain and snow. These garments were not merely rudimentary coverings. They were sophisticated, practical designs, a testament to his people's profound understanding of their surroundings and their ingenious ability to harness natural resources for survival. Perhaps one of Ötzi's most intriguing and personal features were the 61 tattoos adorning his body. These were not elaborate designs, but simple groups of lines and crosses, created by rubbing carbon soot into small incisions. Intriguingly, these markings were not decorative in a modern sense, but strategically placed, often on joints or the lower back, areas prone to strain and injury. This particular placement has led scientists to speculate that Ötzi's tattoos served a therapeutic purpose, perhaps a form of ancient acupressure or pain relief, similar to practices known in other ancient cultures. They hint at a sophisticated understanding of the human body and an early form of medicine, adding another layer of mystery to the life and practices of this remarkable man, a silent chronicle etched onto his very skin. Beyond the shock of his preservation, Ötzi's mummified remains offered an unprecedented medical dossier, painting a vivid picture of a man burdened by the rigors of Neolithic life. Advanced medical imaging, including X-rays and CT scans, revealed a host of common ailments. He suffered from debilitating arthritis in his spine, hips, and ankles, a testament to a life of arduous trekking and physical labor. Microscopic analysis of his gut contents found evidence of whipworm parasites, a persistent annoyance causing discomfort and fatigue. His teeth, though remarkably preserved, showed severe wear, likely from a coarse diet, along with significant dental decay. Every ache, every ailment etched into his very being, told a story not of a mythical figure, but of a tough, resilient individual navigating a world without modern medicine, yet facing struggles that resonate even today. Even in death, Ötzi revealed secrets about his final journey, hidden within the very contents of his stomach and intestines. Forensic analysis meticulously identified his last meal, a hearty, high-fat feast of ibex meat, red deer, einkorn wheat, and traces of fern, indicating a diverse diet from both wild game and cultivated crops. More astonishingly, pollen grains preserved in his digestive tract acted as a microscopic time capsule. The presence of hop hornbeam pollen, which blooms specifically in spring at lower altitudes, indicated that just hours before his demise, Ötzi had been in a forested valley and then ascended to the higher alpine regions where he was found. This detailed botanical blueprint provided a crucial timeline, pinpointing his movements and suggesting his death occurred in late spring or early summer, not deep winter as initially assumed. For years after his discovery, the prevailing theory was that Ötzi had simply succumbed to the extreme cold and unforgiving environment of the Alps. He was a victim of nature's wrath, frozen in time. Yet, even in those early examinations, subtle clues stirred unease among researchers. Observations of his body's positioning, oddly contorted, almost as if deliberately placed, and a deep, defensive-looking cut on his right hand raised initial questions. These weren't the definitive signs of violence, but they were certainly inconsistent with a man simply freezing to death. They were whispers of a more sinister truth, faint shadows hinting that Ötzi's final moments might have involved something far more brutal than exposure, a premonition of the shocking revelations that modern science would soon confirm. The true, devastating nature of Ötzi's death remained obscured for nearly a decade after his discovery. It wasn't until 2001, when advanced X-rays and then sophisticated CT scans were performed on the Iceman, that the undeniable truth emerged. Researchers peered deep inside his frozen form, searching for anomalies. And there, lodged impossibly deep within his left shoulder, was a tiny, dark anomaly, a perfectly preserved flint arrowhead. This was no natural death. This was murder. The arrow had torn through vital arteries and nerves, a fatal wound delivered from behind. The revelation sent shockwaves through the scientific community, transforming Ötzi from a mere archaeological curiosity into the world's oldest cold case, a chilling testament to violence millennia ago. With the discovery of the arrowhead, forensic experts embarked on a meticulous reconstruction of Ötzi's final moments. The arrow's precise trajectory, determined by CT scans, was crucial. It had entered from behind and slightly below, tearing through his subclavian artery, a wound that would have been immediately debilitating and fatal within minutes. This angle strongly suggested an ambush. Ötzi was likely stationary, perhaps resting or pausing on his ascent, unaware of the lurking danger. The assailant, hidden and unseen, delivered a surprise shot, giving Ötzi no chance to defend himself against the fatal blow. It was a swift, brutal act, a betrayal of the pristine alpine landscape, leaving little doubt that this was a premeditated attack. As if the arrow wound wasn't enough, Ötzi also sustained a severe blow to the back of his head. This blunt force trauma, discovered through detailed analysis, presented another critical piece of the puzzle. Was this a deliberate, final blow delivered by his assailant, a brutal coup de grace to ensure his death? Or was it the tragic consequence of his fall after being shot, his head impacting against a jagged rock in the treacherous terrain? Forensic anthropologists meticulously studied the impact patterns, hoping to differentiate between these two grim possibilities. While the precise sequence remains debated, the head trauma almost certainly contributed to his rapid demise, sealing his fate in the cold silence of the mountains. It was another layer of violence in an already brutal end. The plot thickened further with the examination of Ötzi's hands and forearms. Forensic anthropologists discovered several deep cuts, most notably a severe laceration between his right thumb and index finger, extending to the bone. These were not mere accidental nicks. They were classic defensive wounds, indicating a desperate struggle. This evidence suggested Ötzi had been involved in close-quarters combat shortly before his death, perhaps mere hours or even days. Was he fighting off the very assailant who would later shoot him? Or was this a separate, earlier confrontation? These wounds transformed Ötzi from a passive victim into a man who fought back, adding another layer of ferocity to his final days and hinting at a much broader, violent narrative. Just when the story seemed to reveal its darkest secrets, DNA analysis unveiled an astonishing twist. Microscopic examination of Ötzi's clothing and weapons revealed not just his own blood, but traces from at least 4 other individuals. Blood from one person was found on his copper axe, another on his flint knife, and 2 more on different arrows in his quiver. This extraordinary finding shattered the image of a lone assailant. This wasn't a solitary act of violence. This was potentially a skirmish, a conflict involving multiple people. Was Ötzi part of a raiding party? Or was he ambushed by several adversaries? The presence of so many blood types on his gear transformed the murder scene from a simple ambush into a complex, multi-victim encounter, casting a new, chilling light on the last violent hours of the Iceman's life. The initial discovery of the arrowhead, lodged deep in Ötzi's left shoulder, was a critical piece of the murder puzzle. But a glaring detail remained a profound mystery. The shaft of the arrow, the very weapon that delivered the fatal blow, was nowhere to be found. Forensic archaeologists meticulously scoured the ice and surrounding area, but the wooden shaft had vanished. This absence immediately raised a crucial question. Who removed it, and why? Was it Ötzi himself, in a desperate, final act of defiance, attempting to pull out the lethal projectile as life ebbed from him? Or, more chillingly, did his assailant retrieve the shaft, perhaps to obscure the evidence, to ensure the weapon couldn't be traced back to them? The missing arrow shaft isn't just an archaeological enigma. It's a window into the immediate aftermath of the oldest cold case, hinting at a killer who was either methodical or panicked. Beyond the violent end, modern science offered a profound glimpse into Ötzi's very essence, his genetic makeup. DNA analysis extracted from his remarkably preserved cells painted a vivid picture of his heritage. Scientists identified his Y chromosome haplogroup as GL91, a rare lineage today, but one firmly rooted in ancient European populations, particularly within the early farmers who migrated across the continent. His mitochondrial DNA, passed down through his mother's line, placed him within the K1F haplogroup, further solidifying his ancestral ties to indigenous European groups. This genetic blueprint revealed Ötzi was not an outsider, but a true native of the Alpine valleys, his family line likely inhabiting these lands for millennia. He was a son of the mountains, his roots stretching back through countless generations of Neolithic and Copper Age inhabitants, linking him directly to the deep human story of Europe. Piecing together the final days of Ötzi's life became a forensic masterpiece. His last meal, meticulously identified as ibex meat, red deer, and einkorn wheat, indicated he had eaten relatively recently, perhaps just hours before his death. Yet, traces of an earlier injury, a deep cut on his right hand, healing but still fresh, suggested he had been involved in a struggle just days prior. Had he been fleeing a conflict down in the valley, retreating higher into the treacherous terrain he knew so well? Or was he specifically pursued, hunted down by an enemy who refused to let him escape? The ascent to the Tysonjock Pass, where he eventually fell, speaks of urgency. This wasn't a leisurely trek. It was a desperate flight or a grim chase, culminating in a violent confrontation amidst the unforgiving peaks. The mountain, his sanctuary, had become his tomb. The question of motive, always the most elusive aspect of any crime, remained speculative for Ötzi's murder. Yet compelling theories emerge from the scientific evidence. One prominent possibility centers on robbery. Ötzi was no ordinary Copper Age man. He carried a prized possession, a meticulously crafted copper axe, an incredibly valuable status symbol of his time. This rare and expensive tool, along with his quiver of arrows, was found beside him, suggesting the killer didn't take them. Did he fight off an attempted robbery, only to be struck down? Or was the act a brutal revenge killing, perhaps stemming from the fresh hand wound he bore? A prior dispute, a perceived slight, or a conflict over resources could have escalated, culminating in a calculated assassination. The Iceman's death speaks of personal animosity, a targeted act rather than a random ambush. Beyond personal vendettas, another compelling motive for Ötzi's murder delves into the very fabric of Copper Age society, disputes over land, vital resources, or even status. In a time when communities were transitioning from nomadic life to settled farming, territorial boundaries and access to valuable grazing lands for livestock were fiercely protected. Control over mineral deposits, essential for crafting precious tools like Ötzi's copper axe, would have been a constant source of tension. Was Ötzi a shepherd, a traitor, or a leader whose influence threatened a rival clan? His death could signify a flashpoint in a simmering conflict between communities vying for dominance over fertile valleys, alpine pastures, or crucial trade routes. His high-altitude death, far from any village, suggests he may have been caught in a territorial skirmish, a victim of the broader social and economic struggles of his era. While Ötzi perished in the stark, isolated beauty of the high Alps, his life was firmly rooted in the vibrant, bustling rhythm of a valley community. Through archaeological discoveries at contemporary sites, we can reconstruct the likely world he inhabited, perhaps settlements akin to those found in the Schnalls Valley or Vinchgau. Here, he would have lived in simple, timber-framed huts, surrounded by fields of einkorn wheat and barley, tending to livestock, and contributing to the communal life of his clan. We imagine the scent of wood smoke, the sounds of children playing, and the chatter of neighbors. His role, perhaps as a hunter, a shaman, or a respected elder, would have been vital in a society grappling with the challenges of early agriculture trade. This was his home, a place of belonging and purpose, making his lonely death in the mountains all the more poignant. The microscopic world held even more secrets to Ötzi's life. Pollen analysis, an unsung hero of forensic botany, wasn't just about his last meal. It became a powerful tool to map his very existence. By analyzing ancient plant spores trapped within his gut, clothes, and even the ice around him, scientists could reconstruct his seasonal movements and pinpoint his origins. The presence of specific pollen types, like the distinctive grains of hop hornbeam, which blooms at lower altitudes, indicated that Ötzi had been in the valley just days before his death. Later, the discovery of fir and pine pollen suggested his ascent into higher elevations. This meticulous botanical detective work allowed researchers to trace his journey through the different ecological zones of the Alps, painting a dynamic picture of a man who moved between his valley home and the high pastures, perhaps as a shepherd or a hunter, forever tying him to the specific landscapes of South Tyrol. To further solidify Ötzi's life story, science employed the intricate technique of isotope analysis. By examining the stable isotopes of oxygen, carbon, and strontium preserved in his teeth and bones, scientists created a geochemical fingerprint of his entire life. The ratios of these isotopes reflect the local geology of the water he drank and the food he ate throughout his lifetime. His tooth enamel, formed during childhood, revealed he spent his early years in a specific valley south of the Tysonjock Pass. As he aged, the isotopes in his bones, which constantly remodel, showed he later moved between different regions, corroborating the pollen evidence of a life lived across varied altitudes. This microscopic chemistry confirmed Ötzi wasn't a transient stranger, but a man deeply connected to the unique geological and ecological tapestry of the South Tyrolean Alps, a son of the land, whose very body held the indelible record of his origins. Solving the enduring mystery of Ötzi the Iceman wasn't the work of a single genius, but a testament to modern science's collaborative spirit. It was a forensic symphony, bringing together an extraordinary orchestra of specialists. archaeologists meticulously charting his final moments, pathologists dissecting his every injury, geneticists decoding his ancient DNA, botanists identifying the microscopic pollen grains trapped in his clothes, and glaciologists reconstructing the icy tomb that held him for millennia. This interdisciplinary approach, where each scientist's findings became a crucial piece of a 5,300-year-old jigsaw puzzle, allowed the team to piece together a narrative far more intricate and human than any single discipline could have achieved. Their shared dedication transformed Ötzi from a mere mummy into the world's oldest cold case victim, demanding justice through the lens of scientific rigor. Ötzi's investigation remarkably mirrors the sophisticated techniques applied to modern crime scenes, yet it also highlights the incredible evolution of forensic science over the past few decades. Imagine the initial shock of discovering a body on a glacier, not knowing if it was a recent hiker or something far older. The principles, however, remain timeless. Careful evidence collection, meticulous documentation, and an unwavering commitment to letting the evidence speak. Just as a modern CSI team processes a contemporary murder scene, Ötzi's frozen environment became a meticulously preserved crime lab. The difference? Instead of fingerprints and ballistic analysis, Ötzi's team utilized advanced isotope analysis to trace his diet, sophisticated imaging to pinpoint internal injuries, and groundbreaking DNA analysis to determine ancestry and health, tools far beyond the wildest dreams of even turn-of-the-century forensic pioneers, pushing the boundaries of what a crime scene, ancient or new, can reveal. While Ötzi's mummified remains provide unparalleled scientific data, they don't immediately evoke the man he once was. To bridge this gap, artists and scientists embarked on an extraordinary project, digitally reconstructing his appearance. Utilizing every available scrap of scientific data, CT scans revealing the contours of his skull, DNA analysis hinting at hair and eye color, and meticulous study of his preserved skin, they painstakingly pieced together a lifelike visage. The results are startling. An intensely human face with deep-set eyes, a prominent nose, and a grizzled beard, allowing us to stare directly into the eyes of a Copper Age hunter. These reconstructions, both digital and physical, transform a scientific specimen into a tangible person, fostering a profound connection across 53 centuries and allowing us to imagine not just a victim, but a living, breathing individual whose life was abruptly cut short. Beyond his body, Ötzi's remarkably preserved clothing and gear offer an unrivaled window into Copper Age craftsmanship and ingenuity. His wardrobe, a sophisticated ensemble of animal hides and woven grasses, tells a story of survival and resourcefulness. He wore a bear-hide cap, a coat made from goat and deer skin, leggings, and, most famously, intricate shoes crafted from bear leather for the soles, deerskin for the uppers, and a grass net for insulation. Modern experimental archaeologists have undertaken the monumental task of meticulously recreating his entire outfit, using only period-appropriate tools and materials. This hands-on approach allows them to test the functionality of his gear. How warm were his shoes? How effective was his woven grass cape in the rain? Providing invaluable insights into ancient technologies, material science, and the daily challenges faced by our prehistoric ancestors in the harsh alpine environment, proving that his attire was not just clothing, but a triumph of ancient engineering. Even after decades of intense scrutiny, Ötzi continues to yield new secrets, proving that his story is far from complete. As technology advances at an exponential rate, so too does our ability to delve deeper into his ancient biology. Groundbreaking research continues, from detailed microbial analysis of his gut contents, revealing insights into ancient diets and diseases, to advanced genomic studies refining his ancestry and pinpointing his genetic predispositions. Just recently, a study revealed a surprising predisposition to male pattern baldness and a darker skin tone than previously thought, based on updated DNA analysis. Each new generation of scientists, armed with ever more sophisticated tools, peels back another layer of the Iceman's life, refining our understanding of his health his environment, and his place in the broader tapestry of human history. Ötzi is not a static relic, but a dynamic, ever-unfolding narrative. Ötzi's survival for millennia was a fluke of nature, but his continued preservation for future generations is a triumph of human ingenuity. Protecting this unique legacy is an intricate, ongoing scientific challenge. He rests in a custom-built cold chamber at the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Bolzano, maintained at a precise -6 degrees Celsius and 99% humidity, conditions designed to mimic his glacial tomb and prevent any further degradation. Constant monitoring is essential, watching for even the slightest changes in temperature, humidity, or the potential for microbial growth. Scientists even employ sterile water spraying to prevent dehydration and freeze-drying of his delicate tissues. It's a delicate balancing act, a constant vigil against the relentless march of time, ensuring that Ötzi remains an unparalleled scientific resource, a frozen messenger from the past, for centuries to come. Ötzi's permanent home is the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Bolzano, Italy, a modern temple dedicated to his story. Here, millions of visitors from across the globe come face-to-face with the Iceman, a tangible link to a prehistoric world. The museum isn't just a display case. It's a vibrant research hub, housing Ötzi's specialized cold chamber, where his remains are meticulously monitored and studied. Interactive exhibits meticulously recreate his world, detailing his tools, clothing, and the dramatic circumstances of his death. The museum ensures his story is told with accuracy, respect, and wonder, transforming a 5,300-year-old murder victim into a powerful educational tool. It is where his life, his death, and the extraordinary science that unravels his secrets truly come alive, cementing his status as one of humanity's most cherished and studied ancient individuals. With a discovery as profound as Ötzi's, popular imagination often seeks patterns beyond the scientific. For some, Ötzi is not just an ancient man, but the harbinger of a curse. Over the years, a series of tragic and often mysterious deaths have befallen individuals closely involved in his discovery and study, fueling the myth. Helmut Simon, who found Ötzi, died in a hiking accident. Forensic pathologist Rainer Henn perished in a car crash en route to a conference. Renowned Ötzi expert Konrad Spindler suffered from aggressive MS. While these events are undeniably tragic, scientists and rational observers point to the power of coincidence and the sheer number of people involved in the decades-long study. For every cursed individual, dozens more have lived long, healthy lives. The Iceman's curse is a compelling narrative, a testament to our desire for dramatic explanations, but ultimately it remains a captivating myth, far overshadowed by the enduring scientific legacy of Ötzi himself. Beyond the startling scientific revelations, Ötzi the Iceman transcends his status as a mere archaeological specimen. He has become a potent symbol, a shimmering bridge connecting us directly to a human past, 5,300 years removed. His weathered face, frozen in an eternal slumber, his meticulously crafted clothing of animal hides, the birch bark containers and copper axe he carried. Each detail paints a vivid picture of a life lived, a person navigating the harsh realities of the Neolithic Alps. He reminds us that the fundamental threads of human existence, the need for shelter, the search for sustenance, the bonds of family and community, the specter of conflict, were woven into the fabric of life even then. Ötzi is not just a body in the ice. He is a man, a tangible echo of who we once were, inviting a profound, almost spiritual empathy across the chasm of millennia, solidifying his place not just in scientific journals, but in the collective human heart, a true ancestor. Yet, even as Ötzi speaks to our shared humanity, one chilling question about his life remains stubbornly silent, shrouded in the mists of time. Despite the groundbreaking forensic breakthroughs, the incredible reconstruction of his final moments, the identity of his killer remains an enduring enigma. We know the weapon, a flint arrowhead lodged deep in his shoulder. We know the motive likely involved conflict, perhaps a territorial dispute or an act of betrayal. But who pulled the bowstring? Who delivered the fatal blow high on the Tyson-Jock Ridge? Without eyewitnesses, without a modern DNA database of suspects, without contemporary records, even the most advanced 21st century science finds its limits when confronted with a 5,300-year-old crime scene. Ötzi's murder stands as the ultimate cold case, a stark reminder that some secrets, no matter how diligently pursued, may forever remain buried with the past. But the silence of the past is not absolute. Ötzi's story, far from concluded, continues to unfold. As technology accelerates at an astonishing pace, new methods of analysis are constantly emerging, promising even deeper insights into his life and the circumstances of his violent death. Advanced genetic sequencing could one day reveal familial connections across vast geographical distances, or even hint at the perpetrator's lineage with unprecedented detail. Refined imaging techniques might uncover previously hidden traumas or environmental clues within the ice itself that even modern scans missed. Ötzi is not a static artifact. He is an active research subject, his frozen body a continuously yielding archive. His legacy will not merely endure, but expand, ensuring that the Iceman will continue to teach us, challenge us, and fuel our fascination for generations to come, a bridge to the dawn of civilization that keeps on giving. From an anonymous, frozen figure unearthed by chance in the treacherous Ötztal Alps, Ötzi the Iceman has transcended his initial discovery to become arguably the most thoroughly studied ancient human in history. His journey from ice mummy to the subject of the world's oldest solved murder mystery is a profound testament to the relentless ingenuity and collaborative spirit of modern science. Through a groundbreaking multidisciplinary approach, merging archaeology, forensic science, genetics, pathology, and criminology, we have not only pieced together the sequence of events leading to his violent death 5,300 years ago, but also gained an unprecedented window into the Copper Age. Ötzi's tragic end, initially a puzzle, became a treasure trove of information, revealing the intricate details of ancient diet, health, clothing, tools, and the very fabric of early European society. His silent witness speaks volumes, bridging an impossible chasm of time. Ötzi reminds us that the past is never truly gone. Its secrets merely await the right questions and the sharpest minds to unlock them. As a silent sentinel of a forgotten era, he continues to illuminate our understanding of where we come from, an eternal bridge between the modern world and the ancient pulse of humanity.